Hello, my friends. Welcome back to another Monday, December 10th. Monday, December 10th, 2018. Can you believe that we're almost at the end of 2018? I'm soon to be a 38-year-old frickin' grown-up. What's this about? We are continuing today's AMXbooks with The Boys in the Boat. We're going to continue The Boys in the Boat through the rest of the week, and then possibly... I think we're going to cap it off on Monday. May cap it off on Friday. But I think we're going to cap it off on Monday. And then I started reading, this is a fun one, I started reading Meat Eater by Steve Rinella. So Steve Rinella is I'm going to say famous hunter, outdoorsman. He's got a show on Netflix. He's got a podcast. He's got written several books, cookbooks. Wild game is his thing. And I started reading his book called Meat Eater. It's about hunting. It's about outdoors. It's about frontiersmen. It's about exploration. It's about all this cool stuff. So I'll be starting that book next. So without further ado, let's go to AMXbooks 631. 1, 2, 3. Good morning, my friends, and welcome to the Spaniard Show. This is the Spaniard, and this is AMXbooks 631, studying the book, The Boys in the Boat. You can get this book and every other book I read at charliespaniard.com/reading list. Two quick shout-outs. One to Shacky Boy. Shacky is the newest patron on Patreon, patreon.com/charliespaniard. You can support the show for as little as $1 a month. Thank you, Shacky Boy, a former wrestler of mine. He was in AMX Extended. He loves what we're doing here, and thank you, Shacky, very much for your patronage. And also, I want to say this. I went for a run yesterday. I went for a 10-mile run yesterday evening. It got very dark very quick. So I was running in essentially the pitch black on a trail, and I ran faster on the way home because of how dark it was. But I was listening to a podcast with Jordan Peterson. It was Joe Rogan's podcast, and he was talking about a lot of things, getting your life in order and structure and improving yourself in various areas of your life. But the one thing he said was to look for the things that feel right. You know, there's this underlying thing of right and truth, etc. But he said, look for the things that feel right. Step outside yourself for a week, 2 weeks, whatever. Observe yourself. And observe when you feel right, when you feel good, when you feel whole. And ask yourself why, ask yourself how you can replicate that so that you can do more and more of that in the future to get the most out of yourself, to utilize yourself in the best way possible. And I couldn't help but think, man, when I feel right, it's AMX. I feel right every morning for 8 minutes when I sit here in front of this camera and microphone and I record AMX. That's where I feel right. And I want to thank you for giving me the platform, even if it's only a few of us, for me to do that. Because it's the rightest that I feel. So thank you very much for tuning in. Let's talk about some paradoxes in the sport of rowing. This book, The Boys in the Boat, talks about the sport of rowing. It goes into the mechanics of the row, the boats, the rowers, what type of people they are. And in the book, it talks about several paradoxes in the sport. And this is the greatest paradox that I thought was worthy of bringing to the show. So the author says this: great rowers must possess, quote, enormous self-confidence, strong egos, and titanic willpower. Okay? Enormous self-confidence, strong egos, and titanic willpower. They need this to succeed at the highest levels. And if you are privy or have been one of them or exposed to it, anyone who competes at the highest level, they've got to have enormous self-confidence, they've got to have strong egos, and they've got to have titanic willpower. You need them to succeed. Rowing, quote, offers so many opportunities for suffering and so few opportunities for glory that only the most tenaciously self-reliant and self-motivated are likely to succeed at it. Again, stretching this idea of individuality, of ego, of you've got to be in it. Like you've got to be in it to win it. There's no other way. There's so many opportunities for suffering and so few opportunities for glory. I find myself loving this sport. And, quote, and yet, no other sport demands and rewards the complete abandonment of the self the way that rowing does. So you have this ego, you have this confidence, you have this titanic willpower, you have this acknowledgement that there's so opportunities for glory that only the most self-reliant and self-motivated are likely to succeed at it. But then, wait for it, no other sport demands and rewards the complete abandonment of the self the way that rowing does. Ain't that the glory of living? Isn't that what it's about? Isn't that what a perfect blend, okay, speaking of Jordan Peterson, the order and the chaos, that's a paradox or a dichotomy or a balance. How about this balance? The idea of giving it your most, right? Being your best self, but then also giving way, the abandonment of the self for the thing that's greater than you. I read that the definition of spirituality, which I'm going to touch on here in a little bit, is your connection to something greater than you. That's why we get connected to nature, because it's greater, it's beyond us. And it's these balances, this ego and humility, this mission above self. It's all of these things that we're learning repetitively from all of these books across the board that are so stinking important in life. So coming back as sophomores, Joe's class, his freshman class, won the freshman national championship. Coming back as sophomores, they were struggling, right? They were struggling against their own team, within their team, right? Kind of like the blue and white or the crimson and gold, whatever, scrimmages. They were losing to their own teammates. They weren't the best anymore. They were trying to find themselves. It says this, quote, with rainwater running down their necks and backs and dripping from their noses, the real question was whether they had the maturity and discipline to keep their minds in the boat, or whether the rage and fear and uncertainty would unhinge them. The rage and the fear and the uncertainty that comes when you're trying to do something with all of yourself, and it was working, and then it's no longer working anymore, and you can become unhinged at that rage and frustration, the uncertainty. Talks about discipline and maturity. Discipline is a choice. It is in you. When people say they're not disciplined, what they should say is, I'm making a choice to be undisciplined. I'm making a choice to not be disciplined. It is inside you. It comes down to what you truly want or what you truly desire. The maturity, I love this part of it. Do they have the discipline and maturity to keep their minds in the boat? Look, maturity is something that you can't have until you have. You cannot fake it. You have to have maturity. You have to have experience. You have to have gone through it to be on the other side. I don't know now at 37 years old what I'm going to know when I'm 45, or I didn't know at 25. What I know now, you can't fake it. You've got to go through it. And that's part of the glory and the freaking awesome part of living. That seeing these things, having things happen to me as a parent for the first time. Being amazed by them that this is what it's like. This is what I envisioned, or this is what I had no idea. How bad do you want it? No, the discipline is inside you. And then lastly, I believe this is entering Joe's senior year. It was 1936. I believe it was entering his junior year. His junior year. So Coach Ulbrichsen was turning to Pocock, the boat maker, the mentor, the sage, to see if he could figure Joe out. Remember, Mr. Individuality, this guy, Joe Rance, he was the best of the best sometimes, but not all the time. So he had these sessions with Joe, Pocock did, and Joe, he conveyed his love of wood, the qualities, the boat building, and he would get really into this wood. And in the book, it's describing like the texture and the linings and the history and the qualities of this wood. And to Pocock, it was more than just wood. The qualities told a story. Look at yourself in the mirror. You tell a story. Your face, your hair, your body, they tell a story. They tell your story. So Pocock, talking about his love of wood and boat building, says this, quote, you had to give yourself up to it spiritually. You had to surrender yourself absolutely to it. When you were done and walked away from the boat, you had to feel that you had left a piece of yourself behind in it forever, a bit of your heart. I am leaving a piece of me every stinking day in these AMXs. This is my boat building, right? This is my love of wood and boat building right here, AMX. I sincerely appreciate you being here. Find that thing. Find that thing to which you can dedicate yourself for every single day. One way or another, you can give yourself into it spiritually. Give yourself up to it and give all of yourself to that thing. This has been AMX Books 631, The Boys in the Boat. Thanks for tuning in. CharlieSpaniard.com has all my information. You can support the show for as little as $1 a month. Patreon.com/CharlieSpaniard. Read a book, folks. Wait a minute. What just happened? What just happened? Whoa, where was I? Oh, I'm back. All right, folks. We'll be back tomorrow with AMX Books 632. You got YouTube, YouTube.com/Charlie Spaniard, Facebook.com/Charlie Spaniard, Spaniard Show on iTunes. It's everywhere, but it ain't gonna work unless you listen and watch. So thank you very stinking much. Again, Shacky Boy, thanks for becoming the latest Patreon. Patreon.com/Charlie Spaniard. See you, folks. I went to hit my computer. I guess I'll hit my phone. See you.